talks about in relation to children, and this was the first time that I heard this, and it really, really resonated with me. He talked about a soul fever, and he talks about, he does it in relation to kids. He is a parenting expert that, like I said, really, really resonates with me, right? Like, he's not going to resonate with everyone, but oh my goodness, his wisdom just, it's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense to me. And so he has coined what's called a soul fever, and it's basically for children when something's not being met for them, something's off in their life, they experience a soul fever. And what does that look like for young children, you know, especially 2 to 6, 2 to 8, who are still, mostly 2 to 8, in my opinion. I know some experts say that the change starts happening around 6. I can see it to a certain degree, just personally with my own kids, but I still think my daughter, who is 7.5, is still very much in her emotional body. So what that means is, and Joe Dispenza talks about this, he breaks down the brainwave links for children, you know, when they're first born. I want to say theta. I know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Dr. Joe. You think I would remember this by now, especially being a doctor myself, but basically I remember that when we are in, you know, the analytical brain, we're in beta, and when you're in that super high level beta, you know, you're kind of more in that there's no room for those brainwave links to slow down and get some of those aha moments. And I know Anita Moorjani talks about that too, about how our higher self communicates with us on a different frequency. And actually, if you watch the show Manifest, they actually talk about the exact same thing. That show is, oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps literally all over my body as I am talking about this. Like, I've got goosebumps on my kneecaps right now, folks. That's right. Even a little bit of goosebumps on my big toes. Like, is that even a possibility? Like, and I'm talking about, like, on the tip of my toe. It's really neat when that happens. That is definitely a spiritual truth for me. It means something resonates with me, something is true for me. I never knew that's what it meant until, like, a couple of years ago when I found myself at Halos, and you know, Julia was like, oh yeah, that's a spiritual truth, and I was like, oh my god, that's what it means. So, you know me, I go ADD, welcome to my brain, welcome to my gift, welcome to the storyteller part of me. I will swing back around to being sick, I promise, but let's talk about this really quick about our higher self communicating with us on a different brainwave length. And I 100% believe that. I 100% believe that's what's going on with Reiki. I think that explains what's going on with when we do connect to zero, the void, source, when we quote meditate. It is us, like Joe Dispenza talks about, But I can digress and do a little bit right now. Do you guys want me to do that and do like a separate video and see where my brain goes when I talk about what is meditation? So I can do that. Let me know your thoughts. So for me, it makes sense with meditation it's resting. It is resting our brains. It is allowing our brains to slow down and get into those slower wavelengths. And what's the purpose of that? Is that's when we shut off our monkey brain, as Jay Shetty calls it. See, I'm telling you, everybody's on the same track. Everybody like is explaining it just in their own way. So this is for all of you who understand things like my brain. And it slows those brain wavelengths down, and then we can connect to our higher selves. Sometimes you might actually hear it. I have definitely heard those voices plenty in my life since my NDE as a child. I don't know if I did or not. I really don't remember. I don't have many memories from childhood, which yes, we know is a sign of trauma. And if you don't, you do now. But that show Manifest, oh my god, the writers of that show, once you get past the muggle drama, that show is on point. Those writers of that show are so profoundly connected, and they get these messages across with manifesting, with hearing our higher selves, with normalizing the voices in our head, although they make you seem crazy, you know, but again, you just got to kind of get past that muggle drama, with following the signs and the synchronicities, and the serendipities, and the, you know, the synchronicities that happen between you and another person who's seeing the same vision. And oh my god, I love that show. And they talk about in this most recent season 4, part 1. I can't wait for part 2, by the way. I don't even know when it's coming out, and I'm just like, ah. I mean, is Angela nuts? Yes. But again, you gotta have that for the muggles, right? You have to have that drama for them, because they still need that. But if you can look past it, when they hear, you know, they're listening to the black box, but then all of a sudden they hear these other voices, that in reality were there the entire time. But the one guy who connects to it, what does he do? He figures out how to slow his brain wavelengths down to go into that deep meditative state, that deep relaxed state, into, you know, alpha, beta, delta, theta. See, I do remember, Joe. I do. And it allows them to hear voices. So Sanvi, and you know, when they're in the, oh my gosh, I can't remember the other guy's name. And they're listening to the black box, and they're like, "Oh, listen to this," and it's the one guy comes in, and all he does is like slow himself way down, and then he hears it. And that's exactly what it's talking about, is that if we slow ourselves down, it allows us to connect to our higher self, our intuition, our sister, our brother in the bushes, our, you know, whatever it is that you want to call it. So it's really, really neat, because when you think about it, what happens when we're sick? We usually get out of our routine, because waking up at the time that you usually wake up, going through the motions that usually nobody, like, you don't want to do that when you're sick. Even when you have kids, you know, with me, I find ways that we're just gonna have a lazy day around the house. I might take a nap during the day. I'm likely gonna get woken up by my handsome 4-year-old, but you know, what it is. And I'm going to find a way to rest more. And we do that, right? When we're sick, it forces us to rest. And I think actually Jim Carrey talks about this one, depression. We make it seem like such a bad thing, but really, is it? What is depressed? Deep rest. And sometimes that's what we need to change, to make a change, to level up, to grow, to break the habit of being us. Dr. Joe Dispenza, break the habit of being you. And it does. And I feel like we're all on the same page with this. And she's this beauty. Just woke up. She is. See. She's under the weather right now. So she's being born a lot more. And being sick can be a really, really good thing. Bless you. And it can allow us to slow our brain wavelengths down when maybe we've been going, and not taking that pause that our souls need to be heard. Young children, this looks like a lot of meltdowns. Quote, crying for no reason. There's a reason, we just don't always know what it is, and sometimes it's not the reason that I remember being at my parents' house, and bless you, my mom had given my daughter so they would keep these dark chocolate Hershey bars in the fridge for my dad, and my kids found them and they were like, ooh, chocolate, and they're Hershey's dark chocolate, so it's not like the dark chocolate that I like, that's like the 85% that my kids are like, ew, gross. And for me, that's like the perfect sweet for whatever Hershey's is. I don't know what it is, but it's still chocolate for them. My chocolate is not chocolate to them. And my daughter was eating it, and all of a sudden her chocolate bar drops on the ground, and she just starts bawling. And my mom goes, well, you don't have to cry about it. And me, this was during my spiritual awakening, which I'm still going through, right? But, you know, like during it, when I'm like not even really understanding what's going on, and I'm like, oh, no wonder I'm so messed up. Like, what? I was like, yeah, Mom, if she wants to cry about it, she needs, like, let her cry about it. She obviously just needs to cry. Like, was it really, really, really ultimately about that chocolate bar that landed on the ground? No, because my daughter is fine if chocolate falls on the ground, picking it up and putting it right back in her mouth. Not a big deal at all. But in that moment, that's what allowed the trigger to release the emotions, to release whatever it was that she had been holding on to. And what usually, you know, in a healthy family happens, if there's a child crying, you go to the child, you hug it. You know, if they want to be hugged, you say, oh my goodness, what's wrong? Like, you show them love. So they are getting that love that maybe they needed, but they didn't know how to express, or maybe we were ignoring it. But then it often does get them that attention that they needed, that maybe they just weren't getting, or we didn't realize they needed. It's really a beautiful thing that Inside Out talks about emotions and how beautiful they are, you know, sadness, and how it brings people together, how it should bring people together, to comfort somebody, you know, in that moment of sadness. It's a really beautiful thing. And then, you know, as they get to be, from what I hear, it's usually around 8 or 9, then things start to change. They do start to see things a little differently, and then again, you know, in a pre-teen into teens, and then not until you're like mid to late 20s when your frontal lobe is fully developed. But anyways, so special to eat to make you feel better? Do you, like, what is it? Can I get you? Do you want a Pedialyte pop? Do they get extra snuggles? Yeah, a lot of times they get lots of extra snuggles, right? Which then also makes us slow down. It's a really, really beautiful thing. And Dr. Joe Dispenza also talks about how when he would get sick, he actually, would talk about how much he looked forward to getting those really high fevers, because then he would get the lucid dreams, and he would be so excited for his mom to leave the room and close the door so that he could go into that lucid dreaming phase state, and how magical that is. And maybe sometimes we need that in children, right? When they're young, they're usually really good at daydreaming, but a lot of times we're like, hey, what are you doing? Pay attention. A lot of times we're in school, they'll get in trouble for not paying attention, and it's like, they need to check out. They need to lower those brain waves. They need to get to that imagination, that dream state. And we still do too as adults. And we stop doing it. And maybe as more and more of us are taking the time to slow down, to meditate, which I understand when you have kids how difficult it is. I do. I've got 3. Trust me, I get it. It is, bless you, sometimes so hard to find that time. But when you start making that time, so what I give as homework for my client, I say, do you drink a cup of coffee or tea? And usually they'll say yes. Usually it'll be one or the other each day. I'll say, okay, your homework is to do nothing else besides, look at that connection light. See, connection is towards that light every time. It's so beautiful. Is to do nothing else but sit there and drink that cup of coffee or that cup of tea. No phone. No work. No emails. No computers. And if you can, take it outside. That's the best, right? That connection to nature. Go outside and just sit there. Because for some of us who aren't used to sitting still is uncomfortable. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about that one too, I swear. He talks about how sitting still during his meditations in his weekend and week-long retreats, you feel like you want to like jump out of your body. You feel like it's because we're so not used to sitting still. We have gotten so far from that. So this is what I tell people to at least start with. And it gives them something to do, something to hold, but not something, that's stimulating their brain at the same time. And so if they feel kind of like they do want to fidget, this allows them the chance to fidget. It allows them to go ahead and just take a sip of their coffee, and then they feel better, right? Because they're like, okay, I'm doing something. And sometimes when we're sick, we just need to sit back and relax and enjoy it, and let our brain wavelengths slow down. And now, do I believe that possibly if we are to do that ahead of time and take care of ourselves ahead of time and allow our soul to come in and listen to our higher selves ahead of time, that maybe that could prevent illness? That's my thought. And for me, when I was experiencing the more serious illness, I needed that to get out of my routine, because for that first year I was going through prideful to apply for WIC and for Medicaid. And it took that really, really serious illness and me being in so much pain to finally break down and be like, I need help. I can't do this. I can't go pick up the kids today. And then it allowed me to be like, well, you know, I've got this money that came in from work, from a car accident. What should I do with this? I'm going to go take myself on a trip. And it allowed me to start doing things for myself